Techland had one fucking job and they failed it, botching physical releases, failing to ship out games and keys to people in time to even look at the game before it went up for sale. But here we are. We're coming out the other side. The game's out, and after a good deal of hours playing it, seeing it on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC, I feel like I can give a good preliminary look at the game that Techland seemed hell-bent in screwing over. Let's see if this is just a bump in the road, or if it's the equivalent of a digital fun factor hate crime right up there with Microsoft thinking they needed to fix the bumper buttons on their controller. Remember, this preliminary and in-progress review is caffeinated, which means unlike the shambling enemies in the game, it comes at you fast, fancy, and free. Let's break it down a little bit. In Dying Light, you're generic Gennaro Man, codenamed Crane, a man named after a slow-moving, ponderous piece of machinery that does a ton of people's work for them, and lo and behold, this carrier of packages, this deliverer of messages, this go here, go there, do everything for everyone persona plays right into his namesake. You're a double agent, you see, a man airdropped into Zombieland population who fucking knows +1, and told to uncover a plot involving the infection. In doing so, you end up working undercover for the local resistance group because, frankly, if you landed and figured it all out in like 30 minutes, that would not be much of a goddamn game. While smashing, slashing, electrocuting, kicking, punching, body slamming, stabbing, skewering, freezing, burning, shooting, and perhaps tickling zombies and human enemies to death, you'll level up 3 enormous skill trees. I mean, these things are hilariously enormous. I love it. The first time I saw the skill tree, I got that little feeling in my stomach wondering if I needed some graph paper and a pencil. But is the game fun? If you like Dead Island, you know sort of what to expect. A Twinkle Toes rendition of that game. But did we get it? Let's see. Graphics are up first. On the PC with the graphics cranked as high as I could without hacking the config file in some magical way, the game looked pretty damn good, though their post-processing leaves a bit to be desired. And their anti-aliasing solution, though usually clean, can sometimes look like the world's been encrusted in diamond dust, like some magical fairy sprinkled the land because it didn't want gamers too depressed at all the killing, and the edges to many locations can have this odd sparkle. Overall, the textures are very good. The animations for characters and enemies around you are also excellent, though at times the comical, oh shit, I've lost my bones animations of the zombies or humans can be laugh-out-loud funny as they go flapping around the game world like they have little zombie body rockets inside their corpses pushing them around without any outside influence. I still think the textures and little aspects of graphical awareness do a good job here, with light streaming in through windows, colored lighting moodily enhancing nighttime's inevitable win over daytime, and the difference between an impromptu hospital and a barracks really feeling real across the entire spectrum. In fact, above all things, I think the lighting really stood out as the most impactful graphics effect here. Now, when it comes to the consoles, the PS4 and Xbox One both did fantastic jobs as well, though there is tearing on both titles. If you don't know what tearing is, just imagine someone coming up to your TV and shearing the image down the center and showing you half the old picture and half the new one when you turn too quickly or action occurred too haphazardly. It could be worse, but it did show up. However, all the titles are hit by an FPS that is wildly inappropriate. The PC is hit the worst of all, with a frame rate that varies from a solid 60 in places it should, and then dropping down faster than a visitor at a browser's couch without warning when a small bit of dust or smoke hits a screen. Strangely enough, if you go to the same place, sometimes the FPS will drop again and sometimes it won't, like it's teasing you. This might be due to what appeared to be an odd percentage of the multi-threading not being used, as I noticed that the game didn't seem to utilize the multi-core processor in ways that would have made any sense. Indeed, at times it dumped down into the 50% margin many times when that extra grunt could have gone into getting that frame rate back to a punching 60 frames per second from drops as low as 24. I noticed that because one of the major settings on the PC is the view distance, which is CPU bound, and that thing steals frames per second like it's collecting them. So if you have a low FPS on the PC version, check that, and also check your ambient occlusion settings. All that being said, as I played, I was consistently surprised by little touches, areas of incredible beauty, and it really drove home that the game at times looks very good and has a nice, clean feel to it that I never felt Dead Island had. However, both titles share frustrating frame rate issues. Overall, I would say the graphics are good, with tweaking possibly needed on the PC version to get past what I consider frankly fairly terrible optimizations, while the console seems to do better, but has odd tearing and a lower resolution, and really just never reaches the PC's high point. Sound. It's excellent. The sound in this game has a success rate of Matthew McConaughey's Sex Life. I mean, it doesn't matter what it's doing, whether it's the ambient sounds, the mixing, it's all done wonderfully. It's a true pleasure to experience. I think the only negative I could find is the heavy landing sound when you jump. It's just a bit too far, and it sounds a little bit like someone replaced your legs with rotten Halloween pumpkins, and I dare say if anyone sounds like that when they land, they're most likely licking their own ankle. Honestly, every weapon had impact. The punches and kicks were solid, and when you finally succeed in bagging your first zombie, the sound of their melon exploding into juicy, bloody bits is pretty close to perfection. I'm just very happy with the sound so far. Music.
Crane here. I'm about to recover an antizin drop.
I'm in love. It's funny that John Carpenter just recently released the first single of his newest music album, because the moment I heard Dying Light's theme and then the ambient tracks playing as dawn crept up over my safe house, I felt like I was in a movie. The ambient synths and weary, almost tired tones of the music do such an excellent job of solidifying the atmosphere. I loved it. Every track so far has been excellent, and though this isn't something you want to listen to as a soundtrack unless you want family members trying to put you on Paxil, it is very close to being that good. To me, that's a huge boon, and it really solidifies the atmosphere of the game. Simply put, I have loved the music so far. Voice.
Leader yet. Unable to confirm identity. I'm taking steps to blend in.
Acknowledged. Time is of the essence, Crane. Remember that.
Yeah. You know how sometimes you turn the music up when you're humping so it doesn't sound like a crowd clapping at the end of a magic show? That is sort of what you do here. Crank the music because the voices just aren't that good. Actually, I take that back. The main character's voice is sadly not that good. It's delivered in a samey, regardless of the moment fashion, and though there are times when there's some true emotion in his speech, like a fairly depressing moment when he's ordered to do something that's really actually pretty dastardly for the most part, it's just overall passable. Some of the NPCs you see and interact with a good deal of the time are well done, and there's a very clear similarity between two characters here and two in Far Cry 4 that sent you around the forest to get killed by rhinos in that game. Here they're a bit more muted and less bombastic, but the voice actors do a good job making the world feel like things occurred before you arrive. I just wish they'd given the main actor a bit more leeway or direction on his delivery at certain moments. As a full rating, I'd say overall it's okay, with some moments of excellence here and there. Gameplay. If you haven't played Dead Island, then all you need to understand is you're a dude doing jobs for random people with side quests giving you items, unlocking locations, discovering secrets, and killing zombies, and main missions moving the quest forward while killing zombies. As you do it, you gain experience and enter the excellent and large skill upgrade section and go about outfitting your character in a playstyle you like. And speaking of outfitting, you can even change gear in safe houses and have a personal storage that follows you from safe house to safe house. Some of the skills you can get augment your weapons, while others teach you entirely new abilities, like the skill that allows you to pick flowers and, in their words, run faster, fight longer, and see better. I could swear Joe Rogan was right in that skill description, but needless to say, none of them are useless. And in fact, there is an excellent balance here of wanting more skills than you can buy versus looking at a large list and feeling you can do without half of them, like bad parents picking their favorite kids and leaving the others to be raised by TV. Safe houses can be unlocked, and it's here where you sleep, heal up, and wait out the night. Or don't. It's up to you, because people, this game makes Dragon's Dogma nighttime look like an invite to a fucking summer camp. Nighttime is where the true zombies come out. Seething, hating, vampire things that are a mix of the vampires in Blade 2 and someone who just seems to want to hug you really bad. They are truly scary to behold, they move at a speed that is breathtaking, and they change the entire gameplay up at night. So much so that some of your skills are even augmented at night, and I can only assume that's because the developers laughed when none of the playtesters could last longer than 10 seconds without getting a skill reach around. It's insane, fun, scary, and blindingly terrifying at times, having these things chase you. If you can't trap them by tricking them into traps you have, or killing them outright, you have to get to a safe house and wait them out. It's an excellent difference from the normal zombies you face. As with Dead Island, the amount of weapons you can have is insane, starting out with pugilistic bedboard posts and moving to projectile death-dealing devices. You're always sure to find something useful, and when you find that favorite item, you can upgrade it with upgrades you've learned via blueprints and items you have collected, allowing you to add an assortment of elemental powers to weapons. Realistic? No, but fun? Hell yeah. Now, since this is all done in first person, it's important that the game feels flexible and free, and both the fighting and the movement do. Let's be honest, Dead Island at times felt like you were controlling a sack of lard and metal shavings. It never felt organic and real, but here with the added skill of parkour, or fancy walking as I like to call it, you can run, climb, slip, slide, duck, and dive around your enemies. The addition of the free running really does help, and though it's not always as native or excellent as I think the developers were hoping, overall it's good and adds a very different feel to the game here. Add to that the fact that once again, after you finish the tutorial, you can play co-op, and let's be honest, there is something inherently cool about 4 leaping Lenny Pothos jumping around the environment carrying pipes with lightning bolts coming off of them. It's awesome, it's reckless, it's borderline messy, but it is fun as hell. There's just a boatload to discover here, and that is where we get to fun factor. After 6 hours, I have to say, I had a big goddamn smile on my face. This is the kid that's funny despite their parents being sort of stupid and shit for brains, despite all the problems and worries of what was going on with the title, and despite some optimization issues, I found the game fun. Simple fun. Side quests felt worthy of my time. I found myself checking the light and time to verify that I wouldn't get caught out in the darkness. I felt useful in fights, but knew that pushing it just a bit too far would end up with a small quartet of zombies sliding around in my insides like zombies on ice. The game is just fun. The story might not be all that, but what you do get to do in each mission is enjoyable as hell. The weapons and upgrades feel fair and pretty balanced. And the large assortment of skills allowed me to create a Mr. Generic Man the way I wanted, and the multiplayer meant I could do that with 3 buddies. Fun is that contagious feeling and desire to play it again, and I have that now, and I have to say it's really nice to feel that despite the worries I had about the title before. So what does Dying Light do right? The world's interesting and at times beautiful. The nighttime is truly a different feeling game. Skills galore. Weapons upgrade system is in full effect here. Side quests are actually somewhat eventful and interesting. And the music and sound is to die for, in my opinion. What does Dying Light do wrong? On the PC, the game runs like it has some kind of vendetta against you, experiencing it at the best for longer than a couple minutes. Voice of the main actor is actually sort of flat. Animations, bugs, and oddness here or there, as with all zombie games at times, things can look a little foolish when a zombie head catches on the edge of a wall and it begins to shake like it's trying to actively dislodge itself from current reality. I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, rent, or leave it out, past us to be eaten by the speed-running zombies rating scale. At this time, having seen 6+ hours, I can say that if you like what you heard about the gameplay, it's a buy. Listen, on the PC it needs a couple patches or some kind of magic spell to get it to realize you have more than 2 or 3 CPU cores. On the consoles it's better, but comes with the same disadvantages the lesser hardware provides. However, the game itself is simply fun as hell, and not once was I frustrated or unhappy with the game, something that can't be said for many other titles. You guys know me, and you know that I go back to re-review, and this title's obviously no different. And as I continue to play it today, tomorrow, and the next day, I'll update it. But as of now, unless something dastardly happens, the game feels worth the money easily. If you like the video, hit like. If you dislike it, hit dislike. Peace out.